So it's going to be a progress. It's just not going to all happen at once. And our goal is, when you look at the Tier 3 interventions or the multi-tiered systems of support, what's missing is Tier 0, right? So ours is going to be a Tier 0 where we're going to have a gifted program. You won't find it in any book. We already know that. But Tier 0 is where we're going to let the kids move at the pace that is best for the kids. The same could be said for our special ed kids as well. So the idea is we want our special ed kids to be integrated into the classrooms. And so that's what we've done. In K through 2, our on-demand co-teaching model, more and more of our kids are being tested out of our special ed programs and being brought into the regular classroom. So our idea is to move everybody forward with respect to that model. But to answer your question, we're going to implement that Tier 0. It's going to take some time, but I'm as sure as I'm sitting here, we're already advancing right now as we speak. The Spanish is already there. Math will follow. Math tends to go a little quicker. Science is a little slower. ELA, again, tends to be a little bit slower. It takes a little time. And then the social studies typically lags behind. But nevertheless, to your point, we're going to advance as much as possible.
So then, like next year at 7th grade, they'll be assigned a homeroom and they'll be moving with their homerooms? Or are we going to mix those kids up a little bit and make it more of a high school?
Yeah, that's not going to be more like a high school. We're just not going to do that. We're not going to. We don't have the finances.
And then one thing, so we're not only talking junior high, if the kids with those advanced classes are talking primary as well?
Yes. And we've already started that. So I would say we're a little further on the primary. And the expert's right behind me. That's Michelle.
What? No, I'm just kidding.
I just want to see you have your head down. I need you to pay attention. So
they're scheduled.
All right, you caught us. We have a lot of work to do for next year.
Thank you.
Thank you. There'll be another, anyone else cited? Great. We'll have another public participation at the end of the meeting. There's no action item for number 15. Any discussion? Need a motion to approve the consent agenda? Second. Discussion? May we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Biondo?
Yes.
Mr. Bellafiore?
Yes.
Mr. Adesivich?
Yes.
Mr. DeGiulio?
Yes.
Mrs. Paletti? Yes. Mr. Chapelone?
Yes.
Mrs. Stepp?
Yes.
Consent agenda approved. Public participation. Any other public participation? Mr. Chimuzio.
I just wanted to say that I know you've mentioned, Jennifer, that the kids have to be coaxed or they have to be made to understand, but from what I already saw, it's already being talked about. My son brought it up. We were at Museum Night at Giles. It's already being talked about. The teachers are talking about, the kids are talking about with each other. The kids are realizing who they're starting to see again. My son Johnny's going to be seeing Peter Rapadas again, same grade. They've gone to summer camp together. They know these things. They're making these connections. And like I said in the past, while they have been two different schools, K-8 schools, they're still have always been closely associated. The kids know each other from soccer or this or that. So I think it's going to be smoother in that respect. And it's up to the parents, like Mr. Bellafiore was saying, to be positive and put that positivity in them and get them ready. And I think they're a lot more resilient than we think, and the ball's already going in the direction that they understand, and I see enthusiasm. The other thing I wanted to mention is it's apparent from some of the guests here that the grade centers thing has hit a raw nerve, but we're going on a year of talking about how financially strapped the district is. I'm not going to be desperate. Someone may say that, but it's been months and months and months of saying there is no money. There is no money. You listen to certain people with bumpers and stickers on their car, they'll tell you it's completely the board's fault. What roof thing, what pipe, plumbing thing, none of that, they squandered. But months of talking about what are we going to do? And there's a lot of people out here, I recognize them, but we're going back a year of like there's not enough parents, how do they not know? How do we get them to know? The months are going by, and I'm like, something's got to happen. Then the referendum passed. That's
wishful thinking.
And then only then, when things are getting really severe, you're like, people have got to know about this, and we can't rely on a guy sending letters and focusing on targeting people and being negative. You'll get the facts are here, and you go to the district website and read about it, and you read about the state of Illinois, read about all the things that give a school a budget and financing. It's our responsibility, not just to wag fingers at volunteers who are trying their best. Parents' responsibility.
Do you think that they would have
Just state your name, please.
Cecilia Kakowski. Do you think that there would have been a different outcome of the voting had all of the options been presented at once? Meaning, you know, the separation of the schools, renovate, really do nothing is really not an option. So originally it started out that we had an option of do nothing, build a new school, or renovate. And there was an outcome of that, you know, that came in. Prior to that, there was a survey. The options were completely different. At the end, we're going with yet another option. So do you think that the voting would have been different? Because I personally can say that maybe I would have voted for, yes, let's build a new school, had I known, like, all the options. Not to say necessarily that I'm pro or against, you know, what has been decided, but I just feel like how that all went about is skewed, and the results might have been completely different if all of the options were presented at once, so people can comprehend that and then vote one way or the other. Maybe you would have gotten more responses, yes, let's build a new school.
Yeah, I'm not going to make any assumptions. So for me to make an assumption whether if we would have gone left instead of right, it would have worked out more positively. I think it was pretty overwhelming. 3,700 people voted against it. And so as I'm finding in my travels, people are very good investors in this community, and they watch their pocketbooks very closely. And so with that being said, we've put on the ballot another question, and we'll see the outcome of this referendum as opposed to the first one. Because what I'm hearing from other people, unlike the first one that was less reasonable, this is more reasonable. But I don't know what reasonable means. I really don't, until people vote. So people are going to make decisions. You can make a decision. I know they're tough decisions. I would never pretend to be anyone that lives in this community. I am respectful to the taxpayer. So whatever you think is best for you, you're going to make that decision, and you need to move forward with that decision. And so I do not make assumptions. I cannot tell you what would have passed if we would have went left instead of right, up versus down. What I can tell you is we're moving forward with the grade centers. We know that we're going to be able to save money, and we know that by saving money, we're going to earn trust. And trust is earned by fiscal responsibility, according to the local taxpayer. Not according to the state, not according to the federal government, which we're already fiscally responsible, but according to the local taxpayer. So I think that's the first step this board has to take, earning the trust by proving that they can balance the budget, which they've done, but build reserves. That's the second. And so that's the position we're in right now. Again, I do not make assumptions.
Tim?
Tim Ludson. I'm just going to roll with the statement, like kind of feeding off of the same thing, and what Frank led in as well. We sat stagnant, but like it was said, your predecessors had always figured out a way, and the unfortunate thing was the way that was figured out was no future planning. So at the last meeting when we voted on the grade centers, I'd asked the board, how are you going to regain the trust? How are you going to push this essential? And I think what's being forgotten by a lot of the public, and where I think the board is falling short right now, there didn't need to be a pact to be transparent, which people asked for very clearly. I think if there would have been effort to put in to showing that, yes, this has been voted on, yes, we're balancing the budget, this is what the 1.25 we're asking for is absolutely going to go to now. This is not a blank check. We need this. As I've stated in previous meetings, it's getting into a trap now. Because chances are this is not going to pass because people don't know about it. The trust isn't there. And what a lot of people don't know as well, because it hasn't gotten out clearly, is that there's going to be another cut next year. So what happens with the additional $750 next year? We lose all-day kindergarten, we lose the music, we lose the art, everything that you've been patting yourselves on the back for keeping. I hate to say it, and I don't want to come down on the board because there is progress being made, but there needs to be a lot more getting out there. Transparency means letting the people know what's going on, not just saying, yes, we changed this or we voted on this at our last meeting. And guys, come on, there's 2 weeks until the election, and you guys know how essential this 1.25 was. And nothing got out to the community. Not a single thing. Early voting already started. So all I can do is hope for the future, that the board members that are remaining on this year, those that are running, please keep in mind to work with the superintendent. Since the whole start of this $60 million, everybody has asked for transparency and has not been there. That's the only way we're going to get the trust back. They're not going to care that, okay, they made their budget, great, now we're going to ask them for money. No, they want to know where it's going. So that's it for today.
Any other questions, comments?
I know you can't give Fiona Tammy.
Thank you.
I know you can't give me a definite answer right now because you have no idea what the registration and all that will bring in August. But what's the max number of kids you're going to put in a classroom next year? I know it's different from middle school and grade elementary, but what's the numbers?
Yeah, well, most of our classes are at the most 25. Well, first of all, let me just put it in this context. Between the two schools, Giles has larger class sizes, period. Giles has larger class sizes. In fact, some of the class sizes are 28. I believe one of them has 29, but I'll have to look at the data. It's actually on the board packet. We actually have a class list on the board packet, so you can go and take a look at it. But what we're looking at is we have one where there may be class sizes of 28. One class size of 28. And I believe that's at third grade. But here's the difficulty, right, Fiona? Here's the difficulty. We're limited in the number of teachers or the number of positions that we can post because we have to hit a number of $750,000. And we know that the less teachers we bring back, there's a likelihood that you may have higher class sizes. And we had to balance that against having a school day that would end at 2:30, having a school day that ended at 2:30, and losing our sports, losing our arts, losing our music. And I get that. It's not easy. There's been no easy decisions at this table. And they're going to be just as difficult next year if it doesn't pass. Just as difficult. But what I will share with you, to put on the positive side, is we will have a special education teacher dedicated to each grade level. Currently, we do not have one special ed teacher dedicated to each grade level. We will have one special ed teacher dedicated to each grade level. So if you add that teacher into that grade level in our co-teaching model, the class size on average would actually be smaller. The class size on average would actually be smaller. But since they're categorized as special ed, I would not say that the class size is smaller than what I've just proposed. But you'll have a special ed teacher that's dedicated to each grade level. And in addition, you're going to have some specialized special ed education teachers for students that have higher expectations according to their IEP. I hope that helps.
Any other comments, questions?
Yeah, so at the beginning of the meeting you mentioned that you're letting go of some teachers and then you have new positions that are being opened for teachers. What's the reasoning behind that? Is it because of their qualifications, or is it the salaries are too high and you're trying to budget that? What's the reasoning behind letting go of the existing teachers and hiring new ones? Or is it special ed, the fact that you're doing special ed helps?
Well, the simple answer is we have filed with the state a deficit reduction plan. And the deficit reduction plan it's really over a 3-year period. So the first year, the second year, and the third year. In the first year, we said we are not going to cut any teachers.